Now to President Trump's impeachment trial. House managers used their final day of arguments to accuse President Trump of a cover-up.
There was also a controversial comment made by House Manager Adam Schiff at the end of the day. And KCAL 9's Randy Page is here now with a look at the last day. Democrats had to make their case. Randy?
A controversial comment made about a CBS News report. We'll get to that in a second. House managers began their day making their case on obstruction of Congress. And when they finished appealing to the minds of the senators, they turned their attention to the senators' hearts by speaking about duty and honor and political courage.
This was a declaration of total defiance.
The second article of impeachment, obstruction of Congress, front and center on this final day of argument for House managers, who say President Trump continues to block key witnesses from testifying.
There's no telling how many government officials would have come forward if the president hadn't issued this order.
Some Republicans are saying they don't need any more information. They've already heard enough.
I'd challenge anybody here if there was one new piece of information.
Senator, on one hand, you're saying there's no new information. On the other hand, you don't want to hear from new witnesses?
If it's just going to delay only, I think it's a question we all have to ask. Do we need more info?
But House managers are saying this will not be a fair trial without witnesses and documents that are being withheld by the White House.
Shall the House be able to present its case with witnesses and documents through the use of subpoenas, as has been the case in every impeachment trial in history?
House Manager Hakeem Jeffries asked the Senate jurors to consider another factor: character.
President Trump abused his power and corrupted the highest office in the land. That is an attack on our character. We can handle adversity better than any other country in the world. But what are we going to do about our character?
In his closing remarks, lead House Manager Adam Schiff spoke about moral and political courage, the willingness to act according to what you believe is right, even if it's in conflict with your party and even your constituents.
What happens when our devotion to our oaths, to our values, to our love of country, depart from the momentary passion of a large number of people back home? Those are the times that try our souls.
It's what Congressman Schiff said next that drew an angry response from Republican senators.
CBS News reported last night that a Trump confidant said that GOP senators were warned, vote against your president, vote against the president, and your head will be on a pike. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I was struck by the irony of the idea when we're talking about the terminology of a penalty that was imposed by a monarch.
At that moment, reporters in the Senate chamber say they heard a gasp from Republican senators, one muttering, "That's not true." Moments after the session ended,
so ordered. The Senate is adjourned.
Oklahoma Republican Senator James Lankford walked directly up to the microphones.
That is completely, totally false. And all of us were shaking our heads like, where in the world did that story come from? And Adam Schiff just kept saying it over and over again as if it's true.
Ohio Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown followed Lankford up to the microphones and had this to say.
There's a fear that Republicans have. They know that that this president, if they vote against him, this president might come into their states and campaign against him. We'll call them names. There's a palpable fear, and they are afraid to do the right thing here.
The president's attorneys are not taking the weekend off. They'll begin presenting their defense tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And tonight, the Washington Post reports the president's lawyers plan to target the Bidens to provide a plausible reason to ask Ukraine to investigate and at the same time undercut a political adversary.
All right, Randy, thank you.